What's up, everybody? We're back here on the Smoke Factory. It's been a long time. We haven't seen you guys since the Florida State versus Georgia Tech game. I've been busy with ACT studying, school. It's been a long, stressful few weeks, but it's finally over. We finally get back here and talk about college football. So we're gonna recap the first 3 weeks of the season, and yeah, like I said, I've been studying for the ACT and talking about school. I'll tell you a school I won't be attending, and that's Florida State.
Absolutely. Florida State is a shell of itself. They fooled us. They had us bamboozled.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because Paul Feinbaum, I said it after the Georgia Tech game, maybe he was right, and I don't know. This dude is looking like a Nostradamus right now because he picked it. Who would have ever thought that they would be over right
Yeah.
now?
0-3. I mean, I told you guys that the Memphis game could be close. But I mean, Florida State just looks terrible. DJ Uyunglele looks horrible. The receivers look horrible.
Mm-hmm.
The line on both sides of the ball look
Mm-hmm.
terrible. This is just like a really bad
Yeah.
team. DJ Uyunglele, you guys should have been got rid of him. I mean, you have a backup that everybody's calling to play, but he hasn't been playing. So
You might as well get him the experience.
yeah, because
But at the beginning of the season, I said this was not going to be a team that would be led by the offense. So my big disappointment in Florida State is the defense.
yeah.
I expected them to play as a unit and to be able to produce. And right now, man, they're getting run through like a hot knife through butter. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, and I mean, everything is just a dumpster fire in Tallahassee right now. Now, our next point, Notre Dame did what
Yep.
Notre Dame did. Notre Dame, I don't want to say it, but I really hate y'all, man, because I put my faith in you guys every single year, and you let me down every single year. A lot of people have problems with Notre Dame. I don't. I kind of like their concept. I like their colors and everything. I hope they do good one year, but they just always disappoint me. I can't ever bet on you guys again. It's been really bad. I mean, I don't care that you guys blew out Purdue this past week. You guys
Nah,
lost to
doesn't matter.
Northern Illinois at home. It doesn't matter. Your season's basically over.
Yeah, because the big thing that we had with Notre Dame is we expected there to be a showdown of Notre Dame against Florida State, and that was going to be the big game that would put Notre Dame, solidify them in the field of 12. But it doesn't look that way. Now they have to hope for, the unexpected was USC being as good as they've shown. So now they got to hope for a win, go out to USC and win a big game there. It doesn't look like that's very doable for this Notre Dame team.
It doesn't look like they're even capable to beat Louisville, really.
No.
This Notre Dame team, I mean, they look strong week one against Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game I thought they were going to lose, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, then they'll bounce back for the rest of the season. But it's pretty much been the opposite. They
Mm-hmm.
beat Texas A&M and then laid an egg against Northern Illinois, which
Yeah.
is just unacceptable. I'm pretty sure this is like the second group of five team you've lost to in the past few years.
Yeah. Marshall.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just I really hope you guys in Vegas didn't put your money on Notre Dame, because if you did, then you might be somewhere out on the streets right now.
And I was one of those guys that you talked about earlier that really doesn't like Notre Dame. It's something about Notre Dame I just can't get behind. I don't really care for Notre Dame, but I put my words on them this year.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be good. I expected Notre Dame to finish the season around 11-1, solidify themselves in the field of 12, and then actually get into the field of 12 and do a little something. Not so. I think they have shown themselves early to be the pretenders that 2012 team showed themselves to be at the end of the season.
Yeah, and listen, if you're a Notre Dame fan, I won't blame you at all right now if you go ahead and bandwagon. Like it's acceptable at this point, because you guys are just repeating the same cycle every year. High hopes and then let down. It's almost like my Dallas Cowboys. You guys are the Dallas Cowboys of college football.
Yes.
Now, moving on to our third point, the SEC is absolutely loaded.
Yeah.
Now with the loss of Notre Dame, they might not get back in the group or in the 12-team playoff field. The SEC could sneak like 7 teams in there. We got Georgia, who didn't look that good against Kentucky. They might not be the best team in the SEC right now. You've got Alabama. They've looked pretty strong outside of that USF game.
Jalen Milroe is looking like a monster.
Yeah, I think he's gonna win Heisman. He should. I'm rooting for them. I like what they got going on down there. You also got Missouri. Missouri still looks good. How could I forget Texas, the number 1 ranked team right now?
Yeah.
Texas looks dominant.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, my goodness, that's 5 already.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tennessee, the team that I kept trying to tell this dude right here to look out for. He didn't want to listen to me. Tennessee looks like they could potentially be the best team in the SEC. So I think they're going to handle Oklahoma this week as well. I don't know why they put it as a primetime game. I think it's going to be a blowout, but we'll see. Tennessee looks strong. The entire SEC looks like they could really run college football this year as they usually do.
Yeah, because, I mean, my question is Kentucky really that good?
No.
Or is Georgia fake good? Because if Georgia is not as good as we thought they were going to be, then what does that spell when they have to meet some of this stiffer competition? I can't remember.
They got
to
play Alabama in a few weeks.
They got Alabama and they have Texas.
Yeah, and they have to play Ole Miss this year too.
Yeah, you got 3 on their schedule. So if you show up the same way you showed up against Kentucky, well, we don't have to worry about Georgia being in the playoffs because they're going to lose all 3 of those games. That'll mark them out.
Yeah, and when you look, if you look at the time of this recording, if you go to ESPN, you'll see that ESPN has them favored to lose all 3 of those games to Alabama, Texas, and Ole Miss. So ESPN isn't giving them any break. I'm not either, because what the heck was that? How do you guys almost choke to Kentucky?
Mm-hmm.
I sadly didn't get to watch as much as the game live as I wanted to because of homecoming and everything. But I feel like this game really showed me that college football might be scripted. Because the whole week leading up to that, stay with me.
You're losing me.
The whole week leading up to that game, I kept seeing like heavy promotions for this game. And I'm like, why are they promoting this game so heavy? Kentucky is trash. They just got blown out by South Carolina. But I continuously see people, promoting this game. And it wasn't until the day of the game that somebody came up to me and said, oh, I'm really excited to see that Georgia and Kentucky game. And that's when I'm just like, why? Kentucky, they're not good. But then they almost upset Georgia. So I feel like this all might be scripted because that was just crazy. Georgia, you got to pick it up. I know you guys usually struggle when you go on the road to Kentucky. They showed a graphic during the game how much Georgia has struggled the last 3 times they went to Kentucky. But even still, you shouldn't be struggling with a team that got blown out by South Carolina.
Yeah, but I got to lose the idea of the script.
It really might be scripted because it was like what's it called? A simulation almost. It just didn't feel real.
But you're an athlete. You understand the will of an athlete. Yeah. How do you script the will of an athlete? I can't see that happening unless there's some money involved on the backside that, outside of NIL deals that nobody's talking about. Without that, I really can't see the scripting. Sure, you could put some money in a ref's pocket, but I don't think the officiating had anything to do with that.
Yeah.
I was about to say that loss. That tight game that Georgia had to pull out. They basically had to go up there, struggle, and survive. And with the will of the athlete, I don't think that's a script. I just think that for that moment, UK got up for the moment. Georgia went in there expecting an easy laydown, and they didn't get it.
Yeah, but they better lock in because the SEC looks really strong right now. There's a lot of good teams in that conference, and they're not looking like the top dog right now.
I give it to you.
On to our 4th point. Miami could be running away with the ACC. I think the ACC championship might already be in Coral Gables, Florida. I feel like that's not ridiculous to say that because Florida State looks terrible, like we said. Clemson, a lot of people are like, oh, Clemson's back after that loss to Georgia. They've looked strong against teams like App State, but I still think Clemson is pretty bad. I don't think they can compete with Miami. Who else? Who else is in the ACC? We got Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech lost to Syracuse.
Yeah, exactly.
Kyle McCord's looked better, but I still feel like if you send some pressure his way, he's just going to be the same mediocre Kyle.
That's the thing I haven't seen. You haven't seen Kyle McCord play under pressure.
Yeah.
So we got to see what happens there before we can evaluate, is he really, has he really stepped up his game? Is Syracuse line better than the offensive line that Kyle McCord had at Ohio State? Or have they just not faced the competition that Kyle McCord had to face at Ohio State? A lot of unresolved questions still around there. But to your point about Miami, I agree. I think Miami is running away with this with the ACC. The only question is, will Miami have some sort of tragic letdown that they have shown the ability to have in the past.
Miami, they look really strong. They got Cam Ward, the nonchalant quarterback. I mean, he literally goes out there and looks like he's not trying and still puts up big numbers. It's crazy. They've passed the eye test. They beat Florida, even though Florida sucks. I mean, who really expected Florida to win that game? But even then, they still have that crowd. They beat Florida in Florida. Uh, this Miami team, I think they could be running away with this ACC. And even if they have a letdown, that'll only be one loss. I think they'll still get into their conference championship game and they'll still win it, which will put them in the playoffs regardless. But to get to our number one takeaway, everybody just calm down. It's still early. We don't know what's going on. It's a lot of madness going around college football right now. Expect the unexpected. We just saw that when Notre Dame just laid an egg. It's US what is that? USF almost beat Alabama, so
Yeah.
Kentucky almost beat Georgia. Just everybody calm down. We don't know what's happening. Nobody really knows what's happening. It's hard to predict the playoff field right now when so many teams are struggling. So we just have to wait it out and see, really.
Yeah, I agree with that. And every time I see this, or I was thinking about this, not this week, last week, this is starting to remind me of the way that parity started to show up in NCAA basketball.
I agree with you 100% there. It's been a wild season. It reminds me, everybody likes to talk about that, what was it, 2017 season where a bunch of Giants were just getting taken out. So we're just going to have to wait and see, but everybody calm down. But if you're a fan of any of these teams, top 10 teams, top 25 teams, just know that your team might be on upset alert every single week because that's how it's been through college football this year. No team is safe, really.
Absolutely. Agreed.
But that's what we have for you guys today. Make sure you guys like, comment, share this around. College football has been wild so far. We're going to have to wait and see. We have a lot of good games coming up, so expect a lot more content, and we'll see you guys in the next one.